Welcome back to Learn with Chris. I'm Chris. So today we're going to finish off our verb tenses. We're going to look at the 4 future verb tenses. So let's start with the future simple. You can see here that it's used for some different reasons. The first is called spontaneous decision made at the moment of speaking. What that means is if somebody asks you your plans for tomorrow or what you're going to do later, and you don't have a plan, like you make up your mind right now, then that is a spontaneous decision at the moment of speaking. So you'll say, I will do something tomorrow, or I will do something later. The second example is prediction about the future. Like you think maybe it will rain later or it will snow tomorrow. That's also present simple. And future facts or future offers. So if somebody offers, like, I will take you to buy a drink or something, I will take you. That's an offer. So the form of it will be the subject and will, and then the infinitive verb. So that first verb in the list. So eat, ate, eaten, drink, drank, drunk. So I will go, I will sleep, I will eat. So the first verb. Things to remember: words like next, tomorrow, and in indicate future simple. So for example, next week I will go somewhere, tomorrow I will do something, and in 2 years or in 5 days. So they're all related to the future. Also, we have these 3 examples, and this is where we're going to look at the difference between I will travel, I am going to travel, and I'm traveling. They're all about the future, but they're different. So the first one, I will travel, that's present simple, and that's the spontaneous decision. So we call this no plan. If you have no plan to do something and somebody asks you, you will use present simple. I will do this. That's the spontaneous decision. If you have a week plan, W-E-A-K, week, you'd say, I'm going to travel, I'm going to go, I'm going to eat, I'm going to sleep. So a week plan means you have a plan, for example, a plan to go to Iceland next year, but it's not a strong plan. The strong plan is the next one. The week plan means you know where you want to go, and that's about it. The strong plan, I'm traveling to Iceland next year, that means you know when you're going, where you're going, you've already bought the airplane ticket, you have the hotel booked. You're as sure as possible about the future, and then you use the I'm traveling, which is basically the present continuous with future meaning. So again, we have, you make up your mind right now, will. You have a week plan about something, I'm going to do something, and then I'm doing it. That's the strongest plan. So here's some examples for present simple. I will call you later. That's a spontaneous decision. You will love this movie. That's a prediction. I think you will like this movie, right? And I will give you a ride to the airport. That is an offer. Let's look at the future continuous. This is used for a couple of different reasons. Actions in progress at a specific time in the future. So if I'm talking about a specific time in the future, like tomorrow morning, will you be doing something at that time? So an ongoing action, an action in progress at a time in the future. And then we also use it for simultaneous. That means 2 things at the same time, 2 things happening simultaneously. They go at the same time. So 2 actions simultaneously happening in the future. This will be clear when I give you the examples. So the form for the present continuous is going to be the subject, will be, and then the verb and ing. Now, to remember here, we use while, the present continuous, and then the future continuous. So when you look at some examples, you'll see this. So for example, while you are eating dinner, so that's the while and present continuous, I will be doing something. That's the future continuous. So this is a formula that you will see sometimes on the TOEIC test, right? While present continuous, and then the question will be, you have to pick the future continuous. And you'll see an example when we look at the examples right now. So the first one, at 10 a.m. tomorrow, I will be attending a meeting. So that's the action in progress at a specific time in the future. So 10 a.m. tomorrow, that is a specific time in the future. What will you be doing? What is your ongoing action? That's the that's the future continuous. I will be attending a meeting. Another one, next Saturday, future time, they will be traveling to Japan. So an ongoing action, they will be doing it next Saturday. And a while example, while you are cooking dinner, I'll be watching TV. So while present continuous, comma, future continuous. Okay, so let's look at the next one, future perfect. So the future perfect, the uses, actions completed before a specific time in the future, double future. Similar to the past perfect where we have the double past, two actions in the past. Here we're looking at two actions in the future, or not exactly two actions in the future, but a time in the future, and then an action will be completed before that time in the future. And when we look at the examples, you'll see what that means. And another one is predicting the completion of an action in the future. And again, we'll look at some examples in a second. So the form for the future perfect is subject, will have, and then the past participle verb. So again, that third verb. So I will have done something, or I will have eaten something, or I will have drunk something. So the third verb from the list. Now, things to remember here. We have by, and then the future time, comma, the future perfect. So by tomorrow, that's the by in the future time, I will have done something. I will be finished something, or I will have completed something. Or we could write it kind of another way. We could use the future perfect by, and then the future time, right? So I will have done something by tomorrow. So it's in the other direction. So let's look at some examples. By 6 p.m. this evening, I will have finished my work. So that's the by, future time, 6 p.m. this evening, and then you have your future perfect. I will have finished my work. And in an opposite direction, the kids will have gone to sleep, so that's the future perfect, by the time mom comes home. So mom comes home is a future time by the time she comes home, and the kids will already have gone to sleep. They will have gone to sleep by the time mom comes home. It sounds a bit complicated, but, and it is. Remember that some of these tenses, like the future perfect, past perfect, future perfect continuous, the next one, and the past perfect continuous are very, very, very rare in English. We don't use them very much. And to be honest, even native speakers can get them confused because we never see them. And if you never practice something, you never hear it, it's kind of hard to remember the correct way to say it or even what it's for. So it's rare. So again, don't worry too much if it's complicated and you don't really get it, because you're almost never going to use it. So the last example I've got written down here is by the end of the year, so by and future time, I will have saved enough money for a trip. I will have saved. So that's the future perfect. Okay, and the last one is the future perfect continuous. The future perfect continuous is used for actions continuing up to a specific future time. This is the hardest tense in English to understand. And I think it's probably better just to give you the reminder right now. So, by future time, future perfect continuous, for length of time. So let's give an example. So by 10 o'clock tomorrow, I will have been learning something for 5 hours. The whole thing is a future perfect continuous structure. So the form of it is the subject will have been doing. So will have been verb ing. So I think it's best just to look at some examples to see how this works. So the first example here, by 9 a.m. tomorrow, they will have been driving for 8 hours. Okay, so this has our whole formula together there. So by 9 a.m. tomorrow is the future time. They will have been driving. That's future perfect continuous. For, and then you have the length of time or how long they've been doing it, for 8 hours. Now we can go the other direction too by having future perfect continuous for how long, the length of time, by, and then the future time. So example, she will have been writing her thesis. So that's the future perfect continuous, for a year. So for and how long, for 1 year, by, and then the future time, by next month. Well, so what that means, of course, is by next month, she will have been writing her thesis for 1 year, which means right now, she's been writing it for 11 months, right? When you add one more year next month, when you add one more month, it'll be a whole year, right? So you can see how complicated this is, and I'm even having trouble, making sentences correctly to explain it. So this is the hardest tense. It's the hardest tense in English. We almost never use it because the situation is very, very specific. So wouldn't worry about it. This is like one of those 0.1% kind of things. You almost never see it in English. You don't really need to know because it's never used. But you might have a question on the TOEIC test. So there you go. All right, so those are the 4 future tenses. So we're wrapped up with all the 12 tenses. In the next video, I'm going to make a whole bunch of questions, verb tense questions, and we can practice and we can go through them. And hopefully that'll be useful for your TOEIC test preparation. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. And I will see you next time. Have a good day.